Hey there, everyone. Welcome to A Slice of Life with Kelly and Jon. Today we have a guest. Her name is Kai Deering, and she is a powerhouse. You sell like legal, is it legal insurance or is that
Yeah,
kind of?
so we don't like to use that word because we're not licensed. It's a service, so it's legal service plans for individuals and families, making it affordable to access the system.
So how does that work? Tell us about that. That's really different. I haven't heard this.
Yes, and it's funny because it's a 53-year-old, $3 billion corporation all over North America, and I've been with them for 24 years in December.
Wow.
Long time, but I loved it so much. I got it as a voluntary benefit in my last corporate America job before I got canned for insubordination, which was actually perfect because I do have a little bit of a problem with authority. And they did me a favor. I went on a kind of an entrepreneurial trajectory, if you will, and tried a couple of failed things and ended up in health insurance. And this was just a great add-on to what we were doing because we can take it to individuals, families, businesses, and also as a payroll deduction as a voluntary benefit. So it just made sense. And within a handful of years, I'm like, why am I banging heads with another 3,000 agents for that same business? But I just loved it because for as little as $1 a day, people can get access to real attorneys, 20 years of experience that are there to serve, not to charge.
So what you pay monthly, and then when you have a legal issue, you just go to Legal Shield and you've
Yep.
got an attorney.
So we say tap the app because we have an app.
That's
You
cute.
put in all the names of the parties involved and what the issue is, and you pick a callback window that works for you. And then the attorneys will call you back. And like I said, they all average 20 years of experience and they'll go ahead and give you advice. And we never receive a bill for that advice or consultation on the personal side or the business side, depending on what plans we have. And if they feel like, shoot, we should probably review some contracts or documents pertaining to the issue, we will do that as well. And if they feel like one of those scary letters on their letterhead would benefit you in that situation and it's appropriate by law, they'll fire them off. And those really do work. I mean, when people get those, all the attorneys across the top, all the locations across the bottom, they're like, okay, we will do the right thing here. Because I think a lot of people don't want to do the right thing when no one's looking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I can attest. I've dealt with people, and fortunately, lawyers who've thrown out a letter and has have caused things to turn around very quick. But
Cease and
uh,
desist.
does the no, I've never had to do that, fortunately. But but do they also do wills and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do estate planning. That's one of the most popular pieces of the program. And 80% of people right now, they don't even, if they don't have it, and if they do, it's just not up to date. And so I'm really passionate. My mother was a member, but passed away 8 years ago in November without it. And it created a lot of havoc. And so I know firsthand what it's like when you don't have that document in place. And she didn't have a lot of stuff. She lived in a mobile home park and worked at, Starbucks, but it was a hassle. So the mobile home park filed abandonment paperwork on me because I wasn't on the property. I had no paperwork. And as a result of that, they actually padlocked the door and were trying to keep me from getting in there.
Oh,
And so they could commandeer the trailer and all the stuff in the trailer. Well, luckily, I was able to go a little Aaron Brockovich on them because I had access to attorney, I had
hmm.
time, and I had money to really fight them. And the trailer wasn't worth anything, but what was in there was the photos, my mom's wedding
Right.
ring, my grandpa's wedding ring. So because of Legal Shield, I was able to, get in there, get an affordable attorney, get all the things I needed. And I was forever grateful that in my time of need, I had something like this. But if you've been proactive and just did it, so we do those free, all included in our membership. So I don't know why anybody wouldn't just get it done. But it's the will, durable power of attorney, healthcare directive, financial power of attorneys, all free. And then we have a good, better, best business model. So the premium plan for $49.95 a month will actually do a revocable trust for a $250 kind of copay. So very economical, no excuses. We
See,
just want to.
my situation, and we talked about this oddly enough in the last interview that we did. Not that they did legal insurance, but we were talking about something else. With me in mine, I have to deal with intellectual property uh, pieces that I have books, I have screenplays, I have even some music that was copyrighted and of course needs to be handled. in the event I'm no longer here, and to put it with somebody. Does that not but for other people in my situation who are, because we sort of go out to authors and musicians, things like that. Does that come with the package?
Yeah, I have a heart for creatives. My husband's also a musician and was in an original a couple rock operas and it's difficult because you're not making a lot of money on those projects a lot of
Rock
times.
operas don't make money. Ever since Tommy, rock operas don't make money. But go ahead.
And they actually did Tommy the Who once too. So, but on we have a good, better, best on the small business too. And even on the middle of the road one, we'll actually do a trademark mark and a copyright for free once a year when they have those. And that plan starts at 99. And I love that because usually that's just enough. And if they want additional ones, they'll have a little bit of a, copay, be asked to share in the cost for, I think it's like an extra $500 to have another one done beyond that. So it's enough to get people by. And it's just great to be able to ask, quick questions here and there. Maybe a venue didn't pay. Maybe somebody commandeered some of your artwork, intellectual property. A nasty letter from an attorney can also get them to stop using it, pay you, whatever the case is. I had a creative recently that did a logo for a realtor. They didn't want to pay them, and all of a sudden that logo was everywhere in all their information and all their brochures. Yeah, and he kept saying, you're either going to pay me or you're going to have to get it down.
It's
Well,
funny you say that. I have a friend who is a artist, not drawing, but photographic artist, does amazing landscapes, panoramas. And
beautiful.
apparently a company is using his picture on their logo, on their website as, their image, and he's trying, and of course, uh I don't have to tell you, immediately lawyers want four or five, $10,000 as a retainer before they even want to hear about what you have to talk about, or
Yeah.
to move forward. Something like this might make a lot of sense to people like that.
For
Yeah.
sure. And that's a great example. And it happens more often than you think. And most of our creatives just roll over and don't do anything about it. And I think people know that. So that's why they do it because they know they have the same issues as big business, but not the same budget. So this allows them to be able to consult an attorney, never receive a bill. And trust me, a letter like that to a large company saying that you're in, copyright infringement can make a big difference for them to be able to stop or pay. And so I really love what we're able to do. I was a small business owner and it saved my bacon on a lot of things as well, from employees, employment law to landlord tenant issues to you name it. And that's kind of why I'm evangelistic. I went to college in Eugene, Oregon. I'm a little bit of a hippy dippy. So I like that social justice piece. I have a sociology degree, a women's studies minor. So that kind of really just makes my heart sing, giving people access to their rights.
Certainly from the, we are all different ages here, but our parents grew up in a different culture. We have grown up in a more what's the right word? Litigious culture. It used to be, oh, okay, don't, we'll deal with it. You shake hands, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like you piss somebody off, the first thing they want to do is get their attorney on your ass.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately, some people might have that extra 10, $15,000 to throw away to their attorney to become a thorn in your side for some reason.
Yeah.
And we there is a need for companies like Legal Shield, and it's only because of the way our society has come. I don't know when it might have started. We were all around to remember this when overnight lawyers were allowed to advertise. And, all of a sudden on late night TV or on bus stops on where people, would gather, there'd be on a bench, either a real estate agent or a law firm,
Mhm.
or sometimes both, you know.
And
So,
during the day,
so
it's all personal injury attorneys because I think they're assuming you're sitting around with your injury.
that's it. If you fell, if you got hurt in a car crash, if somebody looked at you the wrong way and you slammed into the wall while you were walking because you weren't paying attention, it's somebody else's fault. And we'll get you money. And unfortunately, that is now what our culture has become. I don't know if it's like that in other countries. I sort of doubt it, but it is what it is here. And again, just so you know, when I do my corporate stuff, one of the things that we do offer is through payroll deducted insurance programs or often Legal Shield or some other legal payroll deducted. We'll suck it out of your salary, and if you get stopped by a cop, we'll defend you, type of thing. And that's it's becoming a very logical thing in this culture that we live in.
It's true. And I think it is very indicative of the United States. And I heard a funny, they said, we live in USA. So
Oh, that's funny.
I
That's
have never heard
or
that,
not
and
funny,
I'm
but
surprised.
funny.
but
Yeah.
I think one of the things I'm really proud of, and I own a franchise with them, basically, is that it's defensive. So we don't want to increase the frivolous lawsuits and clog up the court system. So we really are defensive. If they want to go sue somebody, it'll be at a discounted rate. We don't want bad people to do worse things. So if there's like, a DUI or, I always say, if you rob a bank, it's not going to be free. I'll include it in the membership, but don't rob a bank. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let's use our common sense. But
You would imagine that that would be probably one of the clauses in the contract. If you commit a felony of some sort,
yeah.
Yeah. It's
you
going to
know,
cost a little more.
well,
Yeah.
Or
don't
better get
bother us.
another lawyer. Well,
I
I'm
mean, is
reading
it?
on your website some things. So as like a small business person, you can provide legal consultation, contract review, debt collection letters, legal forms. I'm guessing like maybe NDAs and those kinds of things. Do you guys have
Yeah,
like
there's
form
some
letters
flat
that you can?
forms on there, but we work really well with IA too. So if you think about it, you could create a contract on ChatGPT for free and then have us review them. On some of our middle of the road plans for the businesses, we'll even custom draft a contract up to 25 pages for only $250. I mean,
Okay.
so I'm going to say there's a cost for having the membership, but I think there's a cost for not having it because most of us are DIYing legal and the law's not logical. So that's not a great way to get legal advice. And Chat GPT isn't always right, as we found out, with all kinds of things happening in that arena. So I think it's a good complement to what we've got, the high tech and the high touch. Because you still need to be able to consult. You still need to be able to review. You still need to be able to, have defensive litigation if somebody does end up suing you. I live in California and they have a lot of those folks that are suing for the American Disabilities Act. And legit, they should, but a gentleman made about $4 million last year suing our small business owners. And basically, he's just shaking them down for money. So if they're out of compliance a quarter of an inch, he sues our
Oh,
small business owners and they'll pay them versus defending themselves because it'll be cheaper. And in my opinion, that's legalized extortion. And on our
yeah.
plans, we can have up to 100 hours of lawsuit protection. It's an add-on. But gosh, could you imagine? Like my client, one of them got sued
Wow.
3 times, once for ADA, once a slip and fall, and once an employee, and all of it was bogus. And so, they found out we had 100 hours prepaid for in the bank to the tune of about $400,000, and they basically just went away. So we're just trying to protect our business owners. They're really the backbone of our employment, our economy. They employ more collectively than our large employers do, and so we need to protect them. And I want my favorite restaurants to stay in business.
Right, right. Yeah, anyone can sue anyone for anything. And so you're
True.
always vulnerable to somebody that you run across that might be litigious. Then I'm also seeing on your website the ID protection. What is that?
Yeah, so we were first to the market with that in 2003. And I remember going, why are we doing identity theft solutions? And then it seemed like literally within the month, I couldn't pick up a newspaper at the time in 2003 or turn on the TV or the radio. It was like almost like our founder at the time, he's no longer with us, but he had like a crystal ball and he knew. And statistically, that has been anybody with an identity theft issue, 70% are also going to need access to an attorney because if the repositories don't want to fix the credit and you've done all the proper things, done the police report, done all that, maybe you need a motivational letter from an attorney to
Mm.
get them to remove it. So this is why it goes kind of hand in glove because it will cross over into legal. Most things that are fraud, scam, can cross over into legal, and having legal advice is important too. So that program, we're the best and we're the most economical, because we actually, that what sets us apart from everyone is not just that we monitor things that matter, not just your credit, but we'll do 401k, crypto wallets, social media, your driver's license.
Wow.
But if our members become a victim, we actually sign a limited power of attorney, and they get a licensed private investigator signed to their case. They can even call them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in case of emergencies. And we'll do whatever it takes. We have an unlimited service guarantee. There's no one else that does that. It's insane. So we'll do whatever it takes as long as it takes to put them back to that pre-theft status. Now, we're not going to fix their credit if they were 420 before. We'll put them back to a 420.
Right.
Right.
But
Now, okay,
it's invaluable.
in the company's case, just so anybody who's watching knows, and please, if I'm wrong, set me straight. But there's not a Legal Shield office one place and all the phone calls go there. These are law firms across the country that are signed up to be part of your or the Legal Shield
Cover.
business,
Yeah.
they do work through them. So it would be often a company that if I'm in New Jersey and if I had a problem in New Jersey and I contacted, and I'm going to assume a website or an 800 number, they will put me in with a company relatively close to me. Is that correct?
Tap the
Yeah,
app.
it's interesting you say that. So what we've been able to do, is partner up with the best law firms in each and every single state and province. Like in California, we have two law firms because we're a big state. And we end up giving them like about a third of the membership fee goes to them, a third of them goes to the home office, and a third of it would go to me as an independent sales associate with Legal Shield. So what that turns out to be is we're able to pay our law firms about $100 million a year and growing. And so we really kind of tracked a really great law firm, but we own the toll-free numbers that actually go into that one provider law firm. So we can document, they have to call you back within 8 business hours. We know how long you're on hold. We know how quickly they have 48 hours to review your contract. So they're under a tight leash with us. And so we have a lot more control over what happens. If it goes beyond that, then we have about 8,000 referral attorneys that we will contract with that will give them the services, but we'll also do the discounted rate, like up for a messy divorce, things like that. So we actually own the toll free numbers, and not very often, but if our law firms aren't doing a great job, we can just unplug that number, put it into another law firm. And trust me, there's a line of attorneys and law firms that would like that account because they're
Oh
big
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you said, well, we have 8,000 employees, law firms or lawyers, which makes me think, well, you must only have about 10% of what's out there. So that there's about 80,000 attorneys across America, which just goes back to our what we were talking about earlier about how there's so many of them out there that they could now advertise. And hey, I need business. So if you think you have a lawsuit, I'm happy to, not that Legal Shield does this, but the
Well,
other
they would have
certainly.
guaranteed income if they partner with Legal Shield.
Correct.
So
Right, right.
that's why it would benefit them and they would want to keep the contract and the
And
service.
there's a constant flow of business, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's like a collective buying power, just like you would in all other things where you pay a little bit in, and when somebody needs help, they
Right.
can get it, for very
It's
economical.
an insurance company. It's as simple as that. You
Yeah.
pay into a
They're not allowed to
bucket,
call it
and
that,
when
but
you
Well,
need
because
it,
no money
it's
is
there.
exchanged. So in insurance, you would get money back. There's no money being exchanged. So
Okay.
yeah, we're not really insurance, we're service.
I got that. I
Yeah.
got that.
legal
Okay.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only if there was money exchanged, then we'd have to get licensed and all that good stuff. So the good news is we're 100% commission, 1099. We're always looking for people. And I think one of the attractive things is we're not insurance, so you don't have to get licensed. You don't have to worry about paperwork and underwriting
Right.
and all that good stuff. So it's just a service. And I love that about it because I've done with all the insurances and all the continuing ed. I'm like, no, thank you. So this is everything
Okay. Tell us
about it.
about something that somebody you might have signed up for the service. Okay. the one that gets to your heart the most, like this person got
A
was
really
getting
happy story.
screwed, and you didn't expect this to happen, but the next thing you know, they got this. What would it be? Do you have one of those?
I have many of those.
Okay.
Many, and for the at the risk of not, saying anybody's name, I'll use my own because I'm a product of my product. I use it all the time. And it was interesting during the downturn, the mortgage meltdown, we actually were on the good side of that. So we bought somebody else's home who was unfortunately losing their home. And so if you remember, there was a lot of short sales happening. And so this is our first home that we were really excited. And
And in California
in
too.
in
Wow.
Silicon Valley,
Oh,
nonetheless.
wow.
Wow.
And so they owed 50,000 on their second mortgage. Well, the second mortgage said they would, short sell it for 5,000. And at the 11th hour, we were actually at the title company, and they were like, "No, you have to come up with the additional 45, or we're not going to clear the title." And we thought, oh gosh, I mean, we put everything we had into the house. We put 20% down. We had no more extra
Right.
disposable, money just lying around. And we were like, well, what are we going to do? We're going to have to ask friends, parents, take out another loan. What are we going to have to do here? Well, luckily we had access to a real estate attorney. We called them and they said, listen, that's them trying to shake you down for more money at the 11th hour. It's taken them 2 years of not being paid. Something is better than nothing. You tell them to pack sand, walk out of that office right now, and trust me, they're going to come back for you. And I was so nervous because I kept saying, are you sure? Because like we'd already like painted it in our head. My husband was mowing a lawn in a house we
Yeah.
didn't live in. I'd already put my furniture in mentally. And I was like, okay. So we walked from the title company, walked out to the car and said, our law firm said, no, we had this agreement. We're not going to let you shake us down upside down by our ankles, take us down for money at the 11th hour because we were empowered. We knew it. We knew what our rights were. We said it. And they came out and they said, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, fine. While we're in the parking lot, the second said, yeah, 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 we'll take it. Come back in and sign your paperwork. But how
Wow.
many people, I get goosebumps, how many
Oh,
people,
not even that. Even so, okay. Some people would have said, "Well, we just can't do the 45."
correct, or they would have
Okay,
tried to
or they
come
would
up
have
with
said, "Oh,
it.
well, come up with 15 and shake them down for that."
Yeah.
So often, I mean, I see it even, and that was then. What you're talking about, 2003 or
9.
2008 or something, somewhere. Yeah, back then. It's still going on today. People they enter into agreements and somebody doesn't fulfill their agreement and they're going, well, go ahead, sue me. Because they know that the other party, the damaged party, doesn't have that 10 grand or 15 grand to even start a lawsuit. So they try to screw. I mean, I've had the same thing when I was trying to buy a house and the house failed the home inspection. And the homeowner was like, well, I'll tell you what, I'm only going to release this much of your deposit. What? And had to go to court to get my own deposit back
Yeah.
because he didn't think we would and thought we'd give it up. I have always have a big joke when I hear about stuff like that. I live in New Jersey, and of course,
No.
believe that, and of course, having Italians around me my entire life, I have seen people go to prison for trying to extort less than what these businesses are doing to
Yeah, you
innocent
have to
people.
watch everyone. You just got to always be on guard and check, double check.
It's
And
it's to and these businesses get away with it, or or
Because you're the
the
little guy going up against these big conglomerations and you don't have a
right.
legal muscle. It's interesting that you brought that up because the other thing I'm really proud of is our 24/7 access to an attorney in the event that anyone's ever arrested or detained. So, we've seen a lot of atrocities. I think most law enforcement does a good job. I know many of them, but like any profession, there's a few bad apples that we've seen been videotaped doing the wrong thing. And so, what's really great with our membership is they can either tap the app and they're talking to an attorney in 3 rings, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or if law enforcement just says, arrested, detained, right? Give me your license and registration. I give my members a card and it basically says to law enforcement, if your intention is to arrest or detain me, please allow me the opportunity to call my attorney. And the phone number to their law firm's on the back. it basically enacts their memoranda rights. And so that if somebody wanted to be opportunistic at that moment in time and take advantage of a situation, they might think twice about it because they know that person is
Right.
protected. So
Right.
this card, I am on a mission to put it in everybody's pockets, especially with, ICE or First Amendment rights. If you're protesting, you may need to have access to an attorney. It could be an accident after hours, like I was in. Somebody hit and ran me. What do I do? Do I
Yeah.
call the police? If I leave, am I hitting and running? So this card, I think, is worth $1 a day right here, just to have this in your wallet and have access for sure.
Yeah,
Saves a lot.
I can't stop looking at your website because it's so full of information and it does so much that you wouldn't think, oh yeah, I could use some attorney's advice on this. So yeah, very, very good. IRS audit assistance,
Yes,
motor
I was audited for
vehicle.
$1,200, and they told me what to say, what not to say, what to bring, what not to bring. And literally, because I'm clean, the whole thing went away. So it is having access to that. And it's important that you have a good agent too, because they can help you figure out what's the best plan for you. Because there are a lot of different plans. There's gun owners plans, there's commercial drivers plans, there's ride share plans, because they have a little different issues on the road out there driving around. And so, I would say reach out to me. I will happily help you, pick out the right plan for you, as opposed to, if you call the home office, you're just going to get a receptionist that's going to be an order taker. So you want to make sure you go to someone like me, that can help you figure out what's the right one, because there are a few bells and whistles, and we want to make sure we get you into the right service.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is so helpful and so affordable. I
I know
mean,
it's the
just, to
coolest. I
have a
know.
legal service for such an affordable, and especially if you're a family, if you have a business, if you have money, a lot of money that somebody could sue you for, you have a lot to lose. So
You're
this is
hired,
really
Kelly. You're
awesome.
hired.
No, I mean it's a good service. It's a really good service.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I love it. And then I'm looking on your website. It says you are an author and speaker.
Yes, I've been super, super blessed to be a contributing author, to three best-selling books. One that I'm most proud of was Go for No. That was a great book to be able to put a chapter in there. I have another chapter in a book called Women Can, and it's a 100% giving book. I've never heard of such a thing, where if you purchase the book, even on Amazon, you pick your charity, we send all of it to charity. A group of women came up with that. And then the other one is just on leadership. And so, all of those books, I don't get paid for. It's just kind of street cred. And it's been really fun to be able to participate in projects that give back. I think I have a real heart for giving back and philanthropy and social justice and all that, which is why I work where I work, right? It's like, it's important to me,
Mhm.
that to whom much is given, much is expected. And, the more we give back and the more we do, the better we're going to be in the future. But the public speaking has been really fun. I do a lot of trainings and inspirational talks with Legal Shield, and that's translated out to some other, keynotes and things like that. I like sharing. I love personal development. It's, kind of my hobby, my jam. I've started a book club, and I think that's a big secret sauce to being self-employed and getting through some of the ups and downs, because it's never a straight line to success. It's always got these. And so, how do you, keep the even keel and keep the faith and keep the vision? It's working harder on yourself, as Jim Rohn says, than you do in your business, and it'll all work out for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Very inspirational. Yeah. Thank you. So, okay. Do you have anything else you would like to share with our audience? We will leave links to all of the stuff you do below the video
Yeah.
and of course share it for your use too. But yeah, this is a very important service that is not commonly talked about that I think a lot of people, would like to hear about it more.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think a good way to engage is I have Connect with Kai. There's a place that KAI, you can just book an appointment. You can see it's like a link tree, social media. I have videos in there, all kinds of like interesting things. So I think that's a great resource too.
Awesome. Okay.
Excellent. Well,
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for sharing what you do and this great service that
And I
people
love
should
what
know.
you guys are up to. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share,
no,
and
no.
just to really appreciate that you have such great resources for everyone. So
No, I actually, I've always, ever since I first heard about this, Again, you talked, I think you said back in the early 2000s. I remember I was doing some benefit fairs for a company called VSP. They're a vision insurance
Yeah.
company. And they had this. There were other benefit specialists who dealt specifically with Legal Shield. And I got to tell you, a lot of employees, uh, they really do find your basic blue collar employee has found that these kinds of programs, probably Legal Shield, is the only one that's out there that I'm aware of,
Yeah.
or if not, they're certainly the biggest. Um they were I'd see them year after year and they'd say, "Yeah, I got that. And it helped me do this." Or some of them even said, "No, I never used it. I'm just glad I still have it."
Yeah,
Because,
just in case.
you hear horror stories and it's like anything else. It's like car insurance. You have to pay for it. You hope you never need it, but when you do, there it is.
You're really glad
We
you have it.
actually hope that they do use it because they'll make better personal and business decisions. Like the wealthy would never make a move without consulting their attorneys, but we do,
Correct.
and we make bad mistakes. So we want to be more of a partner. We don't. My kiss of death is when I hear, "Oh, I've never used it. I've been good." I want it to be a partnership where anytime we're moving, advancing in life, that it doesn't have to be something bad. When we're moving and buying more real estate, investing, whatever it is that we're able to consult attorneys so we make those better decisions for sure. Yeah.
Oh, well, so they can just call for advice. I'm
Yeah, they
thinking of
never get a
doing
bill.
this.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's important.
Yeah. So not
Okay.
just in bad times, right? Good times.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Okay.
They
Well,
prevent bad times.
we can come up with about 10 new slogans for the company right now, but so anyway, okay, thank you so
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Yeah.
No, it's
Thanks,
our
Kai.
pleasure.
Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
We'll be in
Bye-bye.
touch. Okay. All views expressed in this video belong to Kelly Nicholson, John D'Amore, and guests. These discussions do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever with which they have been affiliated now or will be in the future. The opinions expressed are solely theirs, and since they are critically thinking human beings, these views are subject to change, subject to revision, and subject to rethinking at any time. These conversations are not meant to be taken as advice and are only for the purpose of entertainment. All statements may be based on hearsay and not necessarily valid proof of any claims in this video. It is not our intention to teach or advise on any topic. Unless otherwise noted, all photos are public domain. Thanks for watching A Slice of Life with Kelly and John.